Your marriage is a picture of the gospel, and because of that, the devil, he don't like it. With that in mind, wouldn't we be wise to think about, I don't know, give or take, 10 ways that the devil would love to just wreck your marriage? From Biblical Counseling Coalition, spouses live in the flesh and not in the spirit. What does it mean to walk in the flesh versus walking in the spirit? Let's imagine you and your spouse, you have a conflict. If it's a difference of opinion, small, large, makes no difference. You're firing words back and forth, working through the issue. Suddenly, you're confronted with a decision. How am I going to speak in the moment? Am I going to double down, or am I going to try to reconcile? How do you engage with your spouse? Stop. Think. Will I respond in the flesh, giving the devil a foothold in my marriage, or will I walk in the spirit, drawing near to God, and the devil will skedaddle? A number 2 way for you to let the devil in: no sex in the marriage. What does intimacy do? It is a picture. It is a physical way for us to understand the realities of what it will be like to live in the spiritual realm. In other words, God gives us a physical experience on earth as a foretaste of what it's going to be like in heaven. Not sexual, not a perpetual virgin party. It is simply for us to understand in a physical way. If you think this is good, wait till you get to heaven. It's going to be amazing. Not sexual, but even more amazing there than here. Furthermore, it brings us together. Is there anything that is more, intimate? It helps a couple to bond. And when there are issues in the marriage bed, that bond is going to start to crack. And perhaps that bond will break. And you're going to find yourself living in different parts of the house. Worse than the physical separation, there's an emotional separation. Might even go so far to say, could even be a bit of a spiritual separation. That's how important the issue is. Communicate. Is one more interested than the other? It can happen. Probably will. Talk about it, work through it, understand it, deal with the issues, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to bring you closer together. It is going to strengthen you, whether you conclude intimacy is something that is going to happen at this time or not. Number 3 from Biblical Counseling Coalition: a husband is consumed by pornography. Sir, you want to trash the beautiful gift that God has given to you? Sir, do you want to wound the little girl that was once doted on by a father? Do you really want to scald her by looking at pornography? Aha, says some, but that number 2 thing, no, I'm not getting that the way that I want. Okay, work it out. But that does not mean that you can justify a sinful behavior because there is something kafritz in your bedroom. Lofty, sky-high expectations. If we think, I got a lot of struggles, I got a lot of problems. If I just get married, gonna work itself out. My financial issues, they're gonna get better. My inability to manage a household, it'll improve. My struggle with pornography, it'll go away. My unhappiness, it'll disappear if I just get married. Uh-oh, you've opened the door. Those are expectations that are too lofty and high for a mere mortal. Furthermore, it's really not what marriage is. Make no mistake about it. It has a fruit of joy. It can be so profoundly amazing, but that's not what marriage is. Marriage is supposed to be a picture of the gospel, where we live together, sanctifying one another, becoming more like Jesus Christ together. That's the goal. Not man-made expectations that no man or woman can ever achieve. Number 5, nuclear war. Number 6, avoidance and withdrawal, a form of nuclear war. And number 7, hate speech. All of these share the same component: idolatry. What is the source of your quarrels? James answers the question. You need something. You've created an idol. Then that idol doesn't deliver. And James says, what do? You go to war. Literally, you murder. words, cold behavior. You leave the house, you don't engage, you're sullen. All forms of murder. Why? Because of idolatry. Weak boundaries. We need boundaries because our hearts are bound to stray, and we need help. There's always a temptation to wander. You said, well, my feet would never take me to those places. Okay. What about your eyes? What about your noggin? Do you have boundaries put in place to help you not sin? Work idolatry. This is a biggie, especially for a lot of fellas, women too, but predominantly I think men. We like to work. We're supposed to work. We're made to work. It's a good thing. But when it becomes an idol or it becomes your safe harbor, you know what I'm talking about, sir. Things aren't going right. Whatever the issue is, what do? You go to the safe place, the office. And if you allow that idol to continually be served and you don't get it under control for the sake of your family, service in the church, your spiritual well-being, look out, devil's gonna get in there. From Biblical Counseling Coalition number 10, lying. Ain't nothing gonna wreck your marriage perhaps faster than this. Don't overlook the truth. If you have wandered into the field of gray, well, I don't quite tell her everything. Well, he doesn't need to know how much I spent on that. Whatever the stereotypical issue is, stop it! If you don't, devil's gonna get in there, wreck your marriage, and I promise you, you will have a heartache like you have never experienced before. Do not let the devil in. Marriage, too important. Pepperoni pizza for Pete, which in an odd way is a lot like the difference between imputation and expiation. Are you familiar with the difference, Pete?
I didn't order a pizza?
But it actually in Latin means completely, to completely atone. It's a Latin word, expiationem, and yet an action noun because it comes from the past participle stem of